There's a question that ruins a lot of good things. Not because it's a bad question, not because it's evil, but because it arrives too early. And that question is, what are we? And suddenly, something that felt so natural, something that was unfolding on its own, just gets pulled into this courtroom of definitions. Now it has to justify itself. Now it has to make sense. Now it has to fit. And sometimes that's the exact moment it starts to lose its truth. Welcome to the Infinite Carousel. My name is Promise, and here we talk about real growth, the messy, the beautiful, the imperfect kind, the anxiety of the social script. We've been taught that every meaningful connection must have a name: a friend, a best friend, a partner, a situationship, a talking stage. If it doesn't have a label, then it's incomplete, unstable, even suspicious sometimes. But where does that pressure actually come from? It's not always from the connection itself, it's from the script we've inherited. A script that says progress must look linear, intimacy must follow milestones, and if something doesn't fit the pattern, it must be clarified or corrected. Now, add the digital dating culture to that mix. Everything becomes optimized, categorized. You are either serious or casual. You are available or taken. You are worth investing in, or you are just not worth the time. And what gets lost in all of this? It's the actual feeling, the presence, the nuance, the slow unfolding of connection that doesn't rush to explain itself. The moment someone asks, what are we? The energy just shifts from experiencing to defining. It shifts from how does this feel to what does this mean? And those two are not the same question. Think about it. The beauty of liminal spaces. There's a space we rarely talk about, the in between. Not quite friendship, not fully romantic, not undefined because it's confused, but undefined because it's becoming. It is still becoming. We treat this space like a waiting room, like something temporary, like something that needs to resolve quickly into final form. I know some people who have not reached a stage of maturity will not understand what I'm talking about today. But what if the in between isn't a delay? What if it's the experience itself? Some of the most honest connections live here in the in between, where there's no performance, no pressure to escalate, no expectation to fit a timeline. Just two people choosing each other in real time. And in these spaces, something subtle but powerful happens. Silence becomes comfortable. Not awkward silence, not the we need to fix this silence, but the kind where nothing needs to be said because nothing needs to be proven. We underestimate that kind of connection. We really do, because it doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't check society's boxes, but it holds something really rare: emotional safety without expectation, dismantling the hierarchy of intimacy. We've been conditioned to rank relationships, and right at the top we've got romantic partner, then close friends, then everyone else. But real life doesn't always follow this hierarchy. Sometimes the person who understands you the most isn't your partner. Sometimes the deepest loyalty you experience comes from connection that has no official title or label. And that can be uncomfortable to admit because it challenges everything we've been taught about what really matters. But here's the truth: labels don't determine depth. Effort does, presence does, consistency does. There are relationships with titles that lack real intimacy. And then there are undefined bonds that carry a level of care most people spend years searching for. What makes those connections powerful is that they exist by choice, not by obligation. There's no script forcing them to stay. There's no label holding them together. It's just two people continuing to show up for each other. That's a different kind of devotion, a quieter one, but often a stronger one. The strength of emotional autonomy. Living outside traditional labels requires something most people are not taught: emotional autonomy, the ability to trust your own experience without needing to have constant validation from the outside world. Because people will question it. People will ask you, why aren't you official? Isn't that confusing? What's the point if it's not going to go anywhere? And those questions can plant doubts even when the connection itself feels clear. So the real work becomes internal. Learning to ask yourself, does this feel aligned? Do I feel respected here? Is there mutual care even without a definition? If the answer to those questions is yes, then the lack of a label isn't a weakness. It's simply a different structure. This path also requires boundaries because undefined should never mean inconsistent, unclear, or emotionally unavailable. Clarity doesn't come from labels, it comes from communication. You can have a deeply undefined connection that is still honest, respectful, and emotionally safe. Living within the unlabeled unknown. So, how do you actually navigate something that doesn't follow a roadmap? Well, first, define the feeling, not the label. So, instead of asking, what are we? You can ask, what are we creating together? Because you have to have a common goal. What are you creating together? Second, communicate without forcing outcomes. You don't need to rush towards a conclusion, but you do need to stay aligned. So that means expressing needs, checking in, being honest about changes. And third, accept the evolution. You are constantly evolving. Not everything is meant to solidify into a permanent structure. Some connections are seasonal, some are transitional, some stay fluid and still remain meaningful. The goal isn't to lock it into a category. The goal is to experience it fully while it's here. And finally, detach from external timelines. Just because something doesn't look traditional, it doesn't mean it's less real. There's a quiet strength in allowing something to exist without rushing to define it. In choosing presence over pressure, experience over explanation, and choosing truth over tradition. Because not everything meaningful needs a name. Some things are meant to be felt, not categorized. And sometimes the most authentic connections in your life will be the ones that never quite fit into a box, but they'll fit you. And maybe that's more than enough.